Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today. I'm kicking off a new series for the Horophile where I'll basically be discovering independent watchmakers and brands and really try to get into the nitty-gritty of what makes them independent and just some of the struggles and benefits of being independent. Today we're actually a long way from Switzerland. We're all the way up north in Helsinki, and we're going to be checking out Stepan Sarpaneva's workshop. Lucky enough, James Black Badger, who collaborated with him on the Northern Lights watch from Baselworld, is going to be joining us today as well. So come along and we'll check out what they have to offer. All right, everyone. Well, I'm here at Stepan Sarpaneva's watchmaking atelier in Helsinki with the man of the hour himself, in the flesh, and the moon, and all that stuff. Thanks a lot for having us, Stepan, really.
Thank you.
For me, I mean, this is quite a special journey, a special watch in many ways, because this is actually my first independent watch. And, for someone who's been living for 16 years in Switzerland, I decided to buy a non-Swiss made watch as my first. So. One thing I have to really respect about what you do is you're all the way in Helsinki. I mean, the industry is, 2,500 kilometers away. Suppliers, well, I'm sure there's sometimes a bit of a language barrier, although your time in Switzerland means you're quite proficient in French. What's it like, though, being all the way up here, away from the hustle and bustle of Switzerland?
I think it's good on every way to be away from there, and I hope you can see it on my watches too, because it gives a freedom to really do the work on my own way, not like following what is the hype. Even that, of course, I follow all the time what's going on, but still, I think it's good not to be in. Yeah.
Well, one of the questions I had in mind, before coming here, Stepan, is just exactly how much are you able to do here in Helsinki, and how much is still done in Switzerland? And one of the first things I was surprised to see is that you do a lot here.
Yeah. So yeah, actually I do a lot, and that's like the whole idea what I do, and that's why also the reason why I do not so many, because I really have to finish every watch, and we do a lot. So it's really handcrafted, visible parts what you can see, and the technical functions. Of course, I use already something existing, like the basic movement is Soprod A10, but there's also a reason for it, that why it's that one. Technically, it gives me the possibility to build the moon phase function as flat as possible, and makes it like a more watchmaking the watch than just adding the modules on the top of something. But to be able to make a lot in a workshop, it's like that's most important thing for my way to work. So I enjoy to come to work because I'm a watchmaker. Not only designing the watch, but also making my kind of watches.
And I can tell you're in it for the fun. I mean, for the past, I don't know how many years, your volume hasn't really gone up or down significantly. It's always sort of around, let's say, between 20 to 40 pieces from the Sarpaneva line. And have you ever been tempted maybe to take things bigger, make it into an actual brand instead of being an independent watchmaker, or are you happy?
Yeah, I was going, of course, when like I said, that I've been learning a lot during the years. So there was a moment in 2008 when the things were going super fast that I thought I could build a brand. But I started my company with my own money, and still I own the whole thing, and so it is based on a way that there's no anybody outside, but in 2008 there was people interested about my work, and they made a huge orders. So they started to calculate that soon I will have to find 25 watchmakers only to fill up the orders. So that moment I thought I could become a brand, and lucky that 2009 everything went really fast down, and I really learned that the only way to survive is to stay small, and I thought it's better to think like an artist more than building a brand. So now it's still like the 30, 40 watches per year, and I hope it's gonna continue like that.
So James, how's it going, man?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Thanks for making the voyage out to see us.
Hey, you know I had to, man. I've been following your work for quite a while now. I think I was one of your earliest adopters, actually.
I think you absolutely were, and that's been such a weird journey, I think, for you to have. You've had very good seats for a very weird journey. I think it's a good way to put it. Because it started, I mean, my entire role, for want of a better term, in this industry has been through social media, because I'm not a watch designer. But something like social media, in particular Instagram, has been a very good way to sort of find a sneaky back door into some very cool parties that I wasn't invited to, so to speak. And that's where you've been a huge help for. So thank you.
My pleasure. Listen, I love what you do. It's been the case since I discovered your work on Instagram, and actually so far I think you're the only thing I've bought through Instagram. Started with the first raid you did back in the day. And I'm just impressed to see how far you've come. I mean, especially in the watch industry. I mean, you started making, let's say, you call it jewelry. For me, it's a bit more than jewelry. I mean, it's not your classical, grandma kind of jewelry. But nowadays you've done you started with the Schofield Black Lamp, which I mean made the rounds.
Yeah.
And now.
Even before that, I mean, you were there from you were one of the original sort of bloggers to purchase, mind you, not just but actually purchase one of my Eclipse rings, and then that transitioned to your Neolithic watch strap from Black Badger straps that I was doing with Gary Pemberthy of Watch Obsession, rock out, and then now that has come through Schofield and now into the Sarpaneva work. So you've really been there for the full story arc of things. But
let's get back to the watches. I mean, for you. You're not from the watch industry, which is not necessarily a bad thing.
No.
So how did you get involved right in the beginning?
Actually, the way this whole change in my career started was in about 2008, 2009. I inherited a small little chunk of money when my grandparents passed away. And my grandfather was always really interested in, not really the technical side of things, but the mechanical side of things, just little bits, how they work. And I'd always wanted to get a mechanical timepiece, but I was a student at the time, just didn't have the money for it, couldn't justify it. So through that, my first watch purchase was a Bell & Ross BR01, which I absolutely love to this day, and is one of my real sort of landmark watches. I just love the hell out of it. And through that, I just started taking fun, silly pictures with my iPhone, and you get those onto Instagram. Actually, this is before Instagram even. And I got linked up through my friends Simon Cudd and Pierce Berry with the Bravo forum, and the whole Bravo Bell & Ross online community. And that was the very first door that opened up, because through that you start getting exposed to all the different sort of fun people at all levels of the industry. And I won a photo contest they had done, which got myself and my friend Matthias brought out to Paris for one of the Bell & Ross annual events at L'Invalide, and got to be kind of chummy with Carlos and Bruno, and just through that, that was sort of the catalyst through Bell & Ross and through Simon, started getting behind the scenes a little bit and seeing how the industry works, and starting to get my work in front of people, but from a social perspective. If I would have sent them my CV and some samples of my work saying, "Hi, can I have a job?" they'd say, "Of course not. We get 500 a week." But because it came from a social background, it was much more sincere. Instead of sending a resume and having an interview, I was theoretically sitting next to Carlos Russillo at a restaurant, speaking and just sort of having fun as a friend. And I think that's a much more contemporary way of working, because it's more, there aren't as many barriers socially and sort of business-wise. And for me, that just worked really well. I'm a social guy, so it kind of it made it a little easier that way.
I think that about wraps it up on my end, actually. I'd love to talk to you for hours and hours, but...
that wouldn't be a problem.
I can bunk with you guys, worst case, but I do snore, so...
Absolutely, have to have you out to Gothenburg, come see the Badger Den.
Would love to.
You can help me make some stuff.
Yeah.
Sign the insurance form and you're good.
Who knows, maybe a special something for the Horophile, wink wink.
And see your hands? You got small fingers?
Very.
Yeah, you're good. Okay, we'll get you in the lane. That's a great idea. I would love to do that, because I think what tells a lot of my story is the actual fabrication side of things and the fact that it's one person making stuff. Same with the Sarpaneva studio here, and I think people really relate to that.
Yeah.
Much more so than is it a luxury product, is it a limited series, is it fantastic materials? People are buying into the art side of it, which is, I don't know if I would say that's unique in the industry, but it's not as prevalent as it should be, maybe. It's my very political, not wanting to piss off everybody watching this way of saying it.
Yeah.
Decent.
Yeah.
Thanks, buddy.
Well,
Appreciate it.
James.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.